Welcome to BeWise Tarot. We're so delighted to meet you again. It's been over a month since we did our first reading, and today Beth and I are coming together to offer a collective reading on what we're calling Finding Your Light. We're excited to be back. We're full of inspiration to continue this journey together in offering this gift to the world in the best ways we can. I'm going to pass it on to Beth as she describes for us what the reading Finding Our Light will be about.
The reason that we decided on this topic is because so many people lose sight of their own light within, and we're all born with that light. And no matter what horrible conditions a person may have gone through, there's still that spark of that light within each of us, and it's important that we acknowledge not only our own light, but that the collective light that we all share. So we're going to use the cards today to get some information on, first of all, what does that light look like in terms of our collective and individual past, present, and future. And I'm going to start out with some Rider-Waite cards and just look into, first of all, the past. We'll see what kind of information the Spirit wants to give us about past either problems or blessings that we've had in terms of our light. And the individual is connected with the collective always. So when we look at the collective, we're looking at our individual light as well. So as you can see, the Three of Swords indicates that we lost our light. As a collective in humanity, we've had a tough time with all different conflicts going on with, and especially with our heart, because our heart is the seat of our light. And if our heart is troubled and hurt and in pain, we can't let that light shine. We're turned inward. And when we look at what's happening in the world, there's a lot of painful things. So that's the past that we're coming from. And what we're going to look here is to look for how we can get out of this kind of energy.
Okay, I'm using the Mystical Shaman Oracle deck today, and I'll be adding to what Beth is presenting to us right now around the past of our collective, around what's been happening in our collective. And from this perspective, we're looking at needing to find a place within us that remembers, that basically remembers our origin, remembers where we're coming from, remembers what we are. There's a sense of, she spoke of having lost heart, having lost her sense of connection. And as we're talking about finding the light, we have lost this sense of essence of who we are and what we are. And there's a place of needing to find this deeper, rooted knowing of our essence, of all the different components of what we are. And that will bring us more guidance. And it's been there. Many different indigenous communities and nations have had this, but we've lost it. And how do we find our way back? And we've lost it for a long time, collectively, more collectively, even though there's many individuals that remember and are so in touch. And here we're being called from in the different ways to come back to something much deeper that can guide us, that we've lost touch with.
So using that to bring us into the present, we'll see what Spirit has to say about that. This one came in reverse, so we aren't quite here yet in the present. But the more that we look towards joy, the more that we can manifest it. Right now, the focus is not on the joy. The focus is on the physical, the material. And when we look to the rainbow, that's about something more ethereal, and the cups represent love. So in our present, we have the potential to look for that love, and this coming together and celebrating our light. Why the rainbow appears is because the light is shining on the moisture, and the water is the blessing of life. So the light shining on the blessing of life brings out our own blessings in life. I'm going to leave it like this just so that we're reminded that we have some work to do.
I like what you're saying about that. This card was also reversed when I first picked it. And as you're speaking, Bette, it reminds me, and it's good to notice that I think it adds to how much work we need to do and where we've come from, and the difficulty and the challenges that we've had. So adding to this in the present of our collective and individually finding the joy and seeing what might be in the way and what maybe we already have is what I'm going to be bringing a card to. And here we have this beautiful card full of light in a lot of ways. There's the giveaway, and in some ways it reminds me of part of the nature that we have to take. We take and take and take and take, and have taken so much. And do we remember, do we know how to give away? Do we know how to return and not just take, but to kind of give back to the earth, give back to one another, and go from this sense of not so individual but collective, in this, that we're all in this together, and remembering to give thanks, to come into this present moment and see that even though there's such difficulty and such challenges present in our world right now, and where do we put our attention to? All of it is important. There's definitely the places of shadow that we want to remember and look into. And we want to remember to also give thanks, to kind of spread something that brings forth perhaps the joy of what we are needing to allow ourselves to remember within ourselves.
What impresses me about these two together is that they're both reaching up for this gift, this giveaway, and the gift is joy. And so you can reach up for it, but really it's reaching in for it.
That's
because
right.
that's where the joy is.
That's right. So in some ways it's about following the passion, following the joy, but we don't find it externally. And as you say that, I want to mention that's really beautiful, because in some ways it's like she's reached within and shared out, spreading it out. You can see that something is coming from within and shared out, and it's not something you can buy, it's not something you can dig and go find somewhere, but it's something that we cultivate within us, so then we can share it. So perhaps it's bringing us to remember of where we need to put our attention to go inward and to find something very precious within us that's always been there.
Yeah,
Which is our light.
Yeah, that's very beautiful, because if we go back to the sorrow card, she's finding that's what's in this black world here, is the sorrow, where it starts out, and it's ascending to this beautiful, glowing reality. So let's see what we have coming in the future for our light, our collective light. Oh, beautiful. The Ace of Cups is the new beginning. We have from the Ten of Cups in reverse to the Ace of Cups. So this is, the end of this cycle of looking for the joy somewhere else than within. And this is the gift from Spirit saying, you have it all within. We all have this cup of light and love, and it's overflowing, and it's just so beautiful. And if we only look at what we have and what we can manifest together, it's so bountiful. It's pouring out of the cup, all of this love and joy, and presenting this opportunity for us all to come together and share the light.
Okay, let's see what Spirit may want to add to this through this mystical shaman oracle I've been loving to use. So here we have the ancient ones. In some ways, that speaks to me of remembering the collective of all that's already been known, that's already been in touch with the essence of our light. It's not like we haven't known about how to be connected into our own essence, into our own light. It's for centuries. It's something that many practices have been there. So it seems like as we move forward, if we can remember that we don't have to work it all out. We don't have to recreate the wheel. It's like creation itself, as we're created, has it all within us. So how do we honor the ancient ones in a way that perhaps we've forgotten? How do we be more inclusive? We've gone into a way of being quite separate and more individual. And here, to me, something speaks of collectively coming together in a way that brings forth a lot of wisdom. So it looks really good. The sun is big behind this wonderful form. The heart is quite speaking. There's a lot of inspiration, a lot of vision, a lot of possibilities that are based into a lot of what's already here in our world that we can open our eyes, open our heart, open our senses to. And to do that, we need to quiet things down, which the world has kind of called us to do in a lot of ways. And I can see how going into this abundance here, how do we allow ourselves to open to that? What is the flow? How do we direct ourselves from the inside, individually? What is our individual calling to bring ourselves to be part of this flow that Bette has been talking about, this abundance, this opening?
I love it how the cards always seem to correlate with each other, because what I was noticing was the bird here and the feathers here, and then this cross seems to be a cross there, and what that represents to my intuition is that that this gift that you're talking about, and you know, the connection with the ancient ones is our connection to our own intuition, and the cross to me is like in the third eye. So really it's about opening that up, and being grateful is the best way that we can open that up. So I think that's a really beautiful to see those two cards together. Next we're going to look at what, actually I'm going to get these other cards, these vice verses, and look at what is maybe blocking this, or what's working against this from manifesting, because what we're talking here is the future, how it should be coming together. And you know, there's many blocks that seem to be happening right now. I know there's a lot of people with physical problems, illnesses, different things going on. You know, there's problems with manifesting income. People are growing food and putting their energy towards, you know, creating this abundance of everything. And so let's just look at what kind of energy is perhaps blocking this, and maybe we can get a bit of a handle on it. So I'm just going to cut this for this one. Okay. So here we have justice. Justice is meaning that we're not getting justice. You know, that's what isn't happening. Things are not being done fairly right now. And in terms of the light, you know, when we look, this justice is standing in the light, but what is behind the light is kind of this lost opportunity to manifest. First of all, there's a sword here, so manifesting the truth of things. You know, there's so many different versions of the truth right now, but in reality there is only one truth, and the butterfly is transformation. So transforming the truth from all of the different lies is what justice is about. When we look at these, not really quite sure what they are, but they look like hourglasses, you know, the things that cover a clock. Maybe used as the scale. The scale was held up, but it's been dropped. So the holding up that balance of things, you know, there's the scales there. She's holding them up, and bringing that to light. There's a block to that right now. So it makes it difficult for us. She can't see. She's blindfolded there.
Okay, adding to this, what's blocking our light, what's blocking this process of this abundance and this reclaiming what we talked about earlier. Here we have this card in reverse, the sacrifice. I'm going to turn it around now just for the purpose of our reading for a moment. And how do we come back to balance around what's in the way around what we've sacrificed, how we've sacrificed ourselves? I mean, in some ways we're talking about we're blocked with the places where we've made, I guess we could say, wrong decisions, or we could say places where we've put our attentions perhaps not in the most wisest place for the continuation of our survival, of our thriving, going beyond survival. And in some ways it's about remembering what's important and remembering what's been, where we've put our attention and what's really, really important, and how do we come back to that. And it's reversed because we forgot. To give a sacrifice is to give something. It's to actually remembering the goodness of things and seeing things for what they truly are, putting our attention to what's truly important. And I think we've lost that. So it's about going back to inside to really sense what is the essence of the importance of where we're going and what's important. I'm talking here more collectively. And how do we take the blindfold off to find the truth of what's really important, of what, so we can give, so we can offer, make an offering of something that will be adding, not take away so much, but adding to the collective for the growth of this planet, of our collective humanness, of our consciousness.
Well, for sure, that's going to create that balance that justice seeks. Next, we're going to look at how we individually connect with our light. You know, with these blockages in mind that are happening, how do we get past that and individually connect with our light? Well, here we get balance. You know, it's the balance of the scales here. And the balance of the pentacles is the balancing the physical in our life. So, and he's standing in the light. It's like he's dancing, and he's got the balance. You know, sometimes this card, one's up and one's down, and he's not quite sure how to do this. But this card, individually, we do know how to balance, and we can even like do tricks and do it on one foot if we need to. So when it comes to our own light, we have that wisdom within, and how do we get past these blockages is we just find our own balance of masculine and feminine, positive and negative energies, realizing that there's a ship out there for us, and that ship is it's got a big cargo of light coming in, and we're just on the dock balancing things, knowing that eventually that ship's going to come to the dock, because where else can a ship go? You know, it has to dock sometimes. And it's the same with the light. The light can't be blocked you know, there has to be justice come eventually, and until that ship comes in, until it arrives, what we can do individually is balance, you know, create our own balance of shadow and light. You know, we're not just light, we're shadow too, so we have to balance that energy and do the best that we can with it.
As you say that, it reminds me that part of the sacrifice is knowing the shadow. It's so that it's like as we turn towards the shadow, our own shadow, we can then offer it back.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't stand away from it.
Yeah.
And we don't sort of like try to do everything not to see it, not to have any contact with it. But on the contrary, we go, wow, what is the part of my shadow that I could offer for it to be transformed?
Exactly.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's just incredible how one card speaks to the other. And I love that how we weave together what comes. And this is partly, we're doing this collectively, the two of us, to learn how to work together, how to go from an individual to collectively bring our intuition together. We just are doing that.
Exactly. It's so beautiful, and what I learn from you comes back and makes it more beautiful. What offering I can give.
There's such an addition of coming together. Here, this card was reversed again. We're talking about what we can do individually. And here's the card of the moon. And to me, at this moment, individually, how do we come and be in touch with different cycles, to different stages, to come to balance? It's never just one thing. It's not like all of a sudden, oh, we have balance, and then that's it. No, there are different stages that we want to pay attention to come to balance, to what, and whether that's emotionally, psychologically, physically, in our relationships, intimately or more collectively. There are many aspects that we need to pay attention to. It's like refining something. It's like being in touch in a deeper way on how we are going to be attuned to the different aspects of being in balance. And here we're speaking of allowing the shadow. How do we see the different aspects of our shadow? How do we bring them into light? So when it comes to the full moon and it's the full light reflected in it, we go, wow, there's this. Here's this part of me that I did not know. And I'm willing to say, yes, here you are. And then by saying that, we are creating an offering. It's a sacrifice that we then offer and send out into as a prayer almost. And so individually, how do we fine-tune and go into deeper into the different cycles and the different aspects of finding our balance? There's a deep feminine aspect to that. So obviously, how do we tune in and dive deeper into our own feminine essence as a human being?
Well, this is going to be interesting to see what the collective is about, how the collective is connecting with the light. That's the Knight of Pentacles. It's known as the Messenger. And this one is standing in the dark, looking at the light of this message that's coming. And by the collective, really, that's how it is right now. We're standing in the dark, and we're waiting for this message of when is this light going to light up everything? You know, I can see it in my hands. I can see the brightness and the brilliance of it, but it's not lighting anything up other than my face, you know. And so this is waiting for this message to come.
We have been waiting. It feels like we've been waiting for a long time. Oh, here we are. The fire came out. The collective. And it does feel like, in some ways, we've been on fire in different ways. From a virus perspective, from what's happening in the world around all these different aspects of transformation, and where we need to find our power and we need to find acceptance and we need to come together. So in some ways we're talking about finding our light and our fire within, and how do we really collectively come together for this transformation, because transformation is not done individually. It's done even when we go personally through something very transformative. We need one another. We need this sense of coming together in order to handle the level of transformation that of the fire will create. And so in many ways, how does this light, for it to come from, wow, just our face as you speak that, to something more global, we need to come together. We need to find a way to join hands in ways that we've probably never done before, and perhaps we don't even know how. Hence why we need our intuition to come back.
Mm-hmm.
But the good thing is finding our light is guiding us, will guide us individually, so then we can meet, just like we're doing. We're finding our own sense of intuition, and look how we're blending it together.
Mm-hmm. Most beautiful. What we're going to do now is we're taking this whole pile, and from the cards that were laid out at the very beginning, we're flipping it and looking at what Spirit is about to say about all this. This is from the Akashic Records, and it's the initiation of Count Saint Germain. And initiation, that's what we were talking about this fire, holding this light and this change that needs to come. It's an initiation of light. And this is the guy that does the initiation, is Count Saint Germain. His light and energy represents your initiation, and it can bring this transformation that moves you into a position of your higher power, where your light is not contained in this tiny little box inside, but it's spread and manifest. So that's what the initiation is opening of your light, and giving you this insight and allowing you to achieve. And what this guy is saying is, the time is now. Mm-hmm. This is the time to do this. Mm-hmm. This initiation is here for you right now. You just have to do it. I'm just looking at the little book that comes with the Akashic Records, and it's saying that the disciplines that you create now during your initiation and the work that you do will lift your service to the world and to all humankind. So it's not just that you're awakening and it's going to be really cool, all these new powers that you have. No, it's about that this allowing your light to come out in each and every one of us is going to totally transform others, what we experience collectively. So it's so important.
Wow, this is again incredible, because here we have the Earth Warrior Oracle, and we've pulled out this, I'm not even going to try to say this beautiful word here because I feel like I don't have the right pronunciation yet. And there's an honoring of this word here that I can't say. No. But what I can say is honor of the ancient king. And here we have the lion, the most powerful animal, one of the most powerful animal that represents male power. And so here we are looking at transformation around power. How do we transform power into empowerment? How do we take this initiation individually, bring it to the collective, empowering of the individual and empowering the collective to come into this high level of strength, of healing, of awakening, and that lifts everything through this incredible war. Every stone is turned. Everything within us is being touched. So Spirit is saying we need to transform the way that we have been with power. How do we take power and empower each other in a balanced way through the initiation, through the sensing? All the cards that we've talked about in some ways fits with both of these into collectively and individually.
Yeah, I was just noticing it's got all the phases of the moon on there.
It does. It does.
Yeah,
and it has
so-
the big heart in small little dots over here. So the true power comes from the heart. It's empowered through the heart and then soars. Here's the third eye again. Just this incredible envisioning so we can be in right relation to ourselves, and with everybody else together.
Well, that about says it, doesn't it?
Doesn't it? So we thank you for being with us.
Come visit our website.
Yes,
It's listed below.
and we look forward to hearing from you. If you ever want to drop us a comment, we're available for readings, both either with Bette or Yogita or both together. And we'd love to meet you and pass the word out if you feel called to. Thank you and many blessings.
Thanks so much.